Good morning, you fine people. Good morning, everybody. What's going on, everybody? Thursday, November 20th, 8 a.m. Just finished a member show not too long ago. We did a member show this morning at 7:15 in the morning. So while you guys are sitting around, sitting on your phones in your bed, playing grab ass, we got a show coming up before then. How the hell are you not a member? Enough people on this damn chat that should be members that should be joining me at 7:15 in the morning. But no. You're sitting there, you're sitting around, you're flipping from one side of the bed to the other. You got work to do. My second cup of coffee. Last time I think I did that, people were like, Al, I've been up since 5 a.m. They made me look stupid. So, my apologies to those that are out there grinding, doing whatever they're doing. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Appreciate you guys being a part of Hoops Talk. We got a packed show today. We got, obviously no games to react to or anything like that. A lot of our reaction is just going to be Laker topics, NBA topics, and I'm looking forward to hit on a lot of these. By the way, this is kind of, I go back and forth between this. There are times where you just have your reaction to games, and that obviously drives a lot of the content. But kind of the foundation of these shows is, you don't have a game to react to. It's just coming up with topics, and I think we got some really good topics to get into. A lot of them actually coming from some of the members this morning that I was hanging out with. So thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Got a busy day today as well. I think I'm going to Lakers practice today. I think still trying to figure that one out, but I'm going to probably try to get down there. I haven't been to a practice in a while. It's been a little bit since I've worked my way down there. So I'm going to try to make it there this morning. Not this morning, technically this afternoon. Okay, let me give everyone a quick rundown of the show. Cheers to you. By the way, whether you're listening to this live like we are right now on YouTube, and you see this beautiful figure right in front of you, or you're watching it live late, or I'm sorry, you're watching it recorded later, or maybe you got it on the iHeartRadio podcast, because now I'm on the iHeartRadio network, or maybe it's on Spotify, or maybe it's on Apple, or maybe it's everywhere now. So we're slowly but surely, you can get the show anywhere now. So thank you for being here, however the hell you're tuning into this. Couple topics we got ready to go for today's show. So thank you all for being here. This is a kind of a major question here. I'm already starting to see this, and I know it's early. We're very, very early in the process here, but are you guys starting to notice a lot more conversations about trades, how aggressive this player brought up that player? I saw another article yesterday again about Daniel Gafford. I'm like, guys, the Mavs are not making a trade with the Lakers. That's it. It ain't happening anymore. You already got Luka. Stop going back to the well. It ain't happening again. You should be very grateful and blessed that the Dallas Mavericks already made a trade with the Lakers. But I think the question that's coming out of this is this team proving that they should be very, very aggressive at the trade deadline? Or are you still very cautious because you're saying to yourself, got to build for the future, got to think Luka long-term, not short-term, just because LeBron is 40 years old or whatever the case is. So how aggressive at the deadline is going to be one of our topics today. It's actually going to be one of my starting topics for today. We'll talk a little bit about the cap space and Austin Reeves. There was, you guys know Keith Smith, who has come on the show before, does some great work with Trevor Lane on YouTube, but also works for Spot Track. He pointed out a couple of things for next year, which I think kind of ties a little bit how aggressive the Lakers should be at the upcoming deadline. This was a topic that was brought up from one of the members this morning. LeBron past this season. Can you really look at LeBron past this season? Is there any conversation to have about LeBron past this season? Or is it just got to take, let's not plan anything with LeBron other than what's directly in front of you for somebody who's 40, who's going to be 41 come January 1st. Keep Rui as a starter or have him come off the bench. That was another topic from this morning as well that I want to get a chance to talk about. Really detailed article, a little bit more about why Nico Harrison traded Luka and how he sold Patrick Dumont on it. Conversations out there as well about the Mavs potentially looking to trade Anthony Davis. I got some NBA news I'm going to get into as well, and then we'll call it a day. So thank you for being here on this beautiful Thursday. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their Thursday morning. And I had a lot of coffee this morning, a lot. So I was telling everybody this morning before the show got started, I was telling everybody that, or on the member show, I have a timer on my coffee machine. Okay. It's very fancy, very fancy. I mean, um, maybe we're talking like $40 from Costco fancy. You know what I mean? Like you're walking around and you're like, yep, I'll just take that one. I'm a simple guy, guys. I don't need anything special. I got my timer all ready to go for my coffee. It goes off at 6:45. I'm like, oh, perfect. I'm gonna go grab a cup of Joe. I get over there and I didn't put water in my coffee. So my coffee machine had the coffee there. Everything else was set. Timer was set up perfectly. Just didn't put water in there. Can't really make much coffee if you don't have water in there. So just a tip for everybody out there. If you're looking to make coffee, you need water. Let me take a look at some of the comments here before we get started, and then we'll start getting into the show. Okay. Espresso Slee. Yep. Good morning. Music sounds great. Been up since 3:45. Perfect. I work the night shift, so I watch you before I go to sleep. Ray, you're the man. I appreciate you, brother. Let's get some more in here. Given what we've seen so far, look, this is kind of the question I'm asking. How all in do the Lakers go? Given what we've seen so far, go all in at the trade deadline. I'm going to save this. We'll come back to it as we get some of this going here. Ocean Breeze with a quick quote here. Before you can win, you have to believe that you're a winner. Winners think, look, act, and behave like winners. They focus on the daily process of doing what needs to be done to become a winner. Ocean Breeze, my brother, you are getting everybody off to a good start here this morning with always some positive quotes. So I appreciate you doing that. Wait until the summer when more draft picks are available to trade to get 3 and D. Okay. Let's get started here. I think this is I'm going to save both of those comments and we'll get rolling here. So here's a question that I want to ask everybody here real quick. What we've seen so far from the Lakers and what, obviously we've got a chance to see what the Lakers have done so far this season. Okay, it's still really, really early in the year. Obviously, a lot of basketball to be played. But 15 games is a decent amount of games. I would say that you have a good idea of what your team is about 25 games in. 25 to 30 games in, you're like, okay, I know what my team is. I have a good idea of this team. Are they a real team, or is this just kind of like, all right, we just squeeze into the playoffs, or yeah, we don't have anything this year. Start selling off whatever assets that you have. You're better off losing than you are winning. Don't try to make the playoff. Don't try to any of that stuff. Just go get a high draft pick. I think, if you look at like 3 categories, let's say in the NBA, there's probably more categories than that. But if you look at some of the teams in the league and you're breaking down what each team's maybe goals are, you got teams that are like, yes, we have a legitimate chance of winning an NBA championship. And there's probably 5 or 6 teams in there right now that think that, okay? I think the Knicks and the Cavs think we can get out of the Eastern Conference. Anything can happen in the finals. Maybe the Pistons, because of their start, feel the same way. I think no question about it, OKC, Denver, and Houston think we can get to the NBA Finals. We can get out of the Western Conference. Maybe OKC's in their own, in their own category there. I think the Lakers are saying to themselves, well, I mean, maybe we need some things to go our way, but we got Luka Doncic. The team has certainly responded so far this year. We're not going to be the favorites, but maybe we got a little bit of a shot here. However many teams you want to put in there, there's a certain category there. Then there's another category that's like, let's just get in the playoffs and who knows what happens. Just get in the playoffs. There's probably another category of teams that are saying to themselves, the Phoenix Suns are, maybe they didn't know where they were going to be before the season started. They're thinking to themselves, can we squeeze in 6, 7, 8? We got rid of KD. We got rid of Bradley Beal. Every team's got different goals. And then you got other teams out there, the Wizards, the Hornets, the Pelicans. You got some of these other teams out there. We got to lose as many games as possible. We want nothing to do with the playoffs. We just want the capability or a high probability of trying to get a draft pick. Every team's got different categories. I think the Laker question is an interesting one because I think what the Lakers have been able to do so far this year, listen, it's probably surprised some people out there, some teams out there. It surprised me. I didn't think they were going to start the season out 11-4. I didn't think with the injuries that they had. I didn't think with LeBron not playing in the first 14 games. I didn't think that they would come out to this, this good of a start in the Western Conference. I didn't, and I think there's a lot of other teams out there, or there's a lot of scenarios that have played out so far for the Lakers where they look better than I thought they were going to look. And you can address that. I think there were question marks, right? I didn't know what Marcus Smart was going to be. I definitely didn't know what DeAndre Ayton was going to be. He's been much better than I thought, much more consistent than I thought. So I propose this question because Lakers are eventually going to get to the point where the question is being asked. The question's being asked is, how aggressive should they be at the deadline? Here's what the Lakers are going to have to weigh. Number one, the beauty is we still got about 60 days before it becomes a real major question of like, hey, are you putting all your chips in the center? Are you being very particular of what players you would trade off, what players you would keep? Lakers got time to figure that stuff out. But there was an article on ESPN this morning that I was reading. And I think this is a good kind of, we'll look at it together. Everybody will hold hands. We'll sing Kumbaya, and we will look at this article together. So let me show you what the front of the article says here, because I think this will give you a good idea. It says 50% off right now at Dick's Sporting Goods. All right, probably not that. Early trade questions for the Lakers, Bucks, Warriors, and other top contenders. So this was on the front of ESPN, right? The front of ESPN today. And maybe it was the NBA side of things, but it was on the front. Already these questions are being had. All right, so let me look at the Lakers portion. It only goes through a few teams, teams that they think can make some noise, teams that would need to make a trade. Here's the Lakers portion. What they're missing. All right. They really went into three-point shooting. What the Lakers are missing, they went into three-point shooting. And I like the way they pointed out. Luka and Austin Reeves, how many times have I done a post-game show? And I'm like, these guys can't hit a three if their life depended on it. I mean, how many post-game shows are you getting into where you're like, this guy's 2 for 10 from the three-point line. This guy's 1 for 5 from the three-point. Luka and Austin Reeves have been awful from the three-point line. They're 27th in attempts behind the arc. Anyways, it's basically saying that the Lakers struggle from the three-point line. Okay? Show some of the players, Dalton Knecht, Jake LaRavia, what they're doing. Certainly Marcus Smart and Jared Vanderbilt, you're not going to depend on when it comes to three-point shooting. So, again, the conversations are starting to come up. What can the Lakers do? What should they do? How aggressive should they be? Let me read a little bit more from the article. How the Lakers prioritize cap flexibility next offseason could play a role in how active they are in trade talks. With over $100 million in expiring contracts between LeBron James, Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, and Maxi Kleber, the Lakers could have nearly $50 million in cap space because they are hard capped at the first apron. Los Angeles cannot take back more than $1 million in additional salary. They got some pick swaps. What's next for LA? Here's the portion to just keep in mind. Seeing if the type of basketball they played in James' season debut, he's a willing passer, and Doncic and Reeves thrived offensively the same way they did when he was out, is it sustainable? Through the first 14 games, Lakers beat the Jazz. It's the first time they've had 14 players on the roster healthy. Here is one team source told ESPN. There's just a lot of data right now that we just don't have. So I think the idea and the concept is while it might look appealing to go try to make a move and say, hey, let's be very aggressive and everything else, that team source is basically saying this is the first time they played one game so far with all 14 players on the roster. Do you really know what you have yet? There's kind of a waiting game. That's why I said the next 60 days is going to be advantageous for the Lakers because they don't have to make a decision right away. But let me just kind of give you my thoughts of how aggressive I think the Lakers should be for this upcoming trade deadline. I think any move you make, I really don't feel like you can make a move with some of the assets that you have, and it's a short-term move. We've seen this before, right? There's going to be teams at the NBA trade deadline. The Knicks are all in right now. The Cavs are probably all in right now. Like they have a window where they feel like we better jump on this right now. Denver, if there's a move in front of them, like they're so close, they're saying to themselves, if we can make a move to put us on par with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we know we have Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon, some of these other guys, we got to go jump on it. The Lakers are in a little bit more of a unique situation. What you don't want to do if you're the Lakers, this is not the player that I'm talking about, but I'm going to give you guys an example, and this is why I don't care for this move at all and why I don't think the Lakers should consider it. You guys saw, was it early this week, we were talking about DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan is a 36-year-old that is in, if I'm correct, I think he's in the final year of his contract. DeMar DeRozan would be a win now, you're giving up assets, and DeMar DeRozan is not part of the future with Luka and Austin Reeves and some of these other players. I don't think that's a good idea. I think you could be aggressive at the deadline, but I think just as important as being aggressive at the deadline, every single move you make has to keep in mind, is this player going to play with Luka for the next 3-4 years? That's my only issue that I have with this kind of win now. You got to do it right now. LeBron is right here. You got to go on this, that, all that. No, I don't think that's the proper way to look at it. When the Lakers used to have Anthony Davis and LeBron, there was this kind of win now mode because you weren't 100% sure. Is Anthony Davis going to be healthy the following year? Is Anthony Davis the future of the franchise? LeBron is going on age 40, this, that. You are always in that win now mode, and you can never kind of plan out for the future. I don't think the Lakers, first off, I think it wouldn't be smart for them to not keep in mind with every move that they make. Does this move make sense 2 years from now? Does it make sense for 3 years from now? That's my only concern with the Lakers of trying to win in this LeBron James timeline, and you got to do it right now. He may be gone by the time this year is said and done. You know, the new chapter already started. Now, one thing you also got to consider as well, when do you put your chips to the center of the table? The Oklahoma City Thunder aren't going anywhere. That's the reality. So the Thunder are going to be the favorites this year. They're probably going to be the favorites next year. They're probably going to be the favorites the year after that. Like that's just the reality of the Oklahoma City Thunder. So instead of this in my opinion, instead of this Hail Mary, I think you can be aggressive at the trade deadline. I do think you should, certainly they got to add more talent, no question about it. But I think just as important of all that is you have to be super strategic, and that strategy has to have in mind a long-term strategy, not a short-term strategy. So I use DeMar DeRozan as an example because that to me is a short-term strategy that just it doesn't make sense past this season, and you're going to lose assets to try to chase something that I don't think is a smart move. That's why, there was so much interest in a guy like Walker Kessler, I'll use as an example. Why? Because Kessler, you knew, was going to be that dude. If he were to become a Laker, obviously that ain't happening. He's out for the season. Utah, you're probably never going to make a move with him because Danny Ainge won't make any trades. But that's a move where you said to yourself, oh, yeah, that makes sense. He can be a Laker for the next 3, 4, 5 years, and he's there alongside with Luka for years to come. Can you be aggressive at the deadline? Do the Lakers need to make a move probably at the deadline to really, truly compete against some of these other teams in the West? Yes, I agree with all that. But I don't think you can make a short-term move. I think you got to make long-term moves. So that's my thoughts. And thank you to the members this morning that had this as one of the topics, how aggressive at the deadline. And I think that's a good conversation to have. All right, let me read some of the comments here. Let's see what some people say. I see this name come up, and I'm not kidding here. I see Herb Jones' name come up probably, let's see here. Once or twice a week comes up in the chat. I love Herb Jones. I just, if I'm the Pelicans, why am I trading him? That's the only thing that I would say is, why am I trading him? My only issue with Herb Jones, if I'm the Pelicans, who are going nowhere, and God knows what their plan is, why am I moving him of all players? I think that's more of the question. All right, let's take a look here at some of the comments. I'm going to keep going here. Oh, that's a nice comp there. I like that comp. Adu Thero reminds me of OG Anunoby from the Knicks. That's a good comp. I mean, look, we've seen 4 minutes of Adu Thero. OG Anunoby obviously had a nice career with Toronto. He's having a nice career with the Knicks. But I think build and size and potential and everything else, I like that comp. I like that comp. The only people that want must win this year are the Glazers. The real ball knowers know they will be better next year without his cap to sign some pieces. Yeah, I just listen. If there was pressure on this organization before Luka, there's less pressure on, oh my God, you got to win right now. No, you got to just freaking build a team. Build a team. He's 26. He's a top 5 player in the league. You already got him. He's not going anywhere. I mean, I think there's a greater chance now that that's it. You know, he's going to be around for obviously years to come, and you don't got to worry about. You don't have the only thing you have to worry about with Luka is if you make stupid moves that are, you know, you have I don't know. Let me give you guys a poker example. It's like you got 9-8 suited, and you're trying to go all in. It's like, what are you doing? You know, that's just not smart. And I'm not telling you that's what the Lakers have, but I actually don't think we fully know what the Lakers have at this point. Okay, let's see some more here. DeRozan's going to be bought out. Screenshot it. Listen, you guys know how buyouts work. If he's bought out and the Lakers don't have to give up anything to get him, that's a different conversation. And those are also rentals that have no risk for the future. Marcus Smart has no risk for the future. DeAndre Ayton has no risk for the future. These guys have no risk for the future. Alex Lynn last season, I know a lot of people obviously hated it, but he didn't do anything. There's no risk for the future in having players like that. All right, let's see what else we have here. Jerry, thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate you. Luka, Reeves, LeBron, Rui, Ayton, unthinkable in 2024. Oh, yeah. 2024? Yeah. No. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, the whole trade for, you know, obviously for Luka Doncic, even after the trade, it's unthinkable. Even today, as we sit here, is unthinkable. All right, let's keep going here. People are pretty funny in this chat. I mean, you know, I got comedians in here. Comedians. Who would have thought? It's like stand-up. I start doing the show and they start their set. Hey, thank you everybody for being here. They start their set. It's pretty good. All right, let's keep moving here. Okay. I saw something, and you know who I got to work on getting on, who's, man, really, really nice with their time. I saw him a couple of weeks ago. I saw him at the Lakers-Spurs game. I got to work on getting him on. And I've had him on before. Bobby Marks of ESPN. Honestly, one of the coolest guys that you're ever going to meet. Really, really good guy. I got to work on getting him on because I want to ask him some front office questions, that the Austin Reeves stuff and some other things. He's a front office insider. So I'm going to work on that. Actually, when we're done with the show today, I would love to get his thoughts and opinion on a couple things Laker related. So there was an article I saw yesterday. Keith Smith, I mentioned, who's come on the show before. And he does great work for Spot Track, and he also does some work that has to do with, and this is going to tie into the earlier conversation that we had. Let me show you guys something here because I think this is kind of cool. I think this is impressive, and I think this is cool to point out, and I think could get you excited as a Laker fan thinking big picture. And guys, just, you know, we'll hit on some stuff about the team, but obviously right now, just because there's no games this week, there's some bigger topics that if I'm going to do it, now's the time to do it because, you know, we'll be reacting to games as we go. Look at this. All right. So this is on Spot Track. Again, this is Keith Smith, initial 2026 cap space and spending power projections. Cap space. I love the ads. Ads everywhere. Cap space teams. There's 6 teams with cap space. Look at this. The Wizards have $81 million to spend. They don't know what they're going to do with it because they're one of the worst run franchises out there. I think they got a new front office, so we'll give them a little bit of a chance. Clippers have 67.6. Lakers have $55.6 million. I want to just highlight the Laker portion here real quick. In order for the Lakers to get here with cap space, they'll have to cut ties with LeBron James, or, of course, James could make the decision for the Lakers by retiring. This also would mean clearing up the books for every other free agent, minus Austin Reeves, Cap Hold, and Marcus Smart opting in. But that doesn't mean all the other Lakers would be gone. They just take care of them by using the cap space or the room exception. Or, as we've seen before, that cap space could be used to get a co-star for Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. Okay. The only reason why I want to show you guys, the future is bright for the Lakers. I really believe that. I really feel like, they've put themselves in a position. I know a lot of people kind of hated. There's been at times they haven't been the biggest fans of Rob Pelinka talking about cap flexibility in the offseason, expiring contracts, all that stuff. But there's a reason for it. And it just kind of shows the spot that the Lakers are in potentially down the road. And that's why they got to be so smart for this upcoming trade deadline of what contracts they bring in, how much of those contracts are long-term, how much of those contracts are short-term. I'm sure part of the reason why the Lakers had the offseason they did, Jake LaRavia was 2 years, $12 million, not risky at all. Gabe Vincent expiring, Maxi Kleber expiring, LeBron obviously technically expiring. Yes, they're going to try to clear up cap space and be ready for Austin Reeves. I do think they're going to make a play and probably find a way to re-sign him. But there's a lot of players that could still be on the roster or could get moved from the roster. But it just shows you, I think the future looks bright for the Lakers. I really do. You got a top 5 player in the league. You got some other really nice players as well, some other nice pieces. And you got a lot of cap flexibility. And I also think you have a destination that's looking more and more like a place that players will want to play at. Especially with new ownership coming in as well. Okay, let's keep moving here. I got a couple other things that I want to get into. I want to talk about LeBron here for a quick second as well, and then I got some stuff about the starting lineup that I want to chime in as well on. Before I do so, I got to give some love to one of our partners. So shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. We got here. See this? Look at Wallace coming in here. Look at this Nike swag. Brad, I need more of this. Brad, the people are asking. I'm going to send Brad this clip right here. I'm going to tell Brad, the people they want some swag. They want this Nike Wallace firm swag. Shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. Our official partner of the channel and somebody that has really helped kind of amplify the channel and help me take it to the next level because of his partnership. I hope you guys don't ever need him. You guys know that he is an injury attorney, serious injury, wrongful death case. He can help anybody in the state of California. I'm very appreciative of him and his belief in what I'm trying to do with the channel. Was with me on radio, is now with me on YouTube as well. Okay. Just to simplify it, if you ever need him, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. If you ever want to send me an email and say, Al, can you introduce me to Brad Wallace? I'll be happy to do so. I say all that because, this isn't a hard sell. I hope you guys never need him, but something happens in life. You need an injury attorney. You're not sure where to start, where to go. Let me just introduce you to him and let his team help. I know he'll be able to help. He could help anybody in the state of California. And now I could work on trying to get some more swag and actually give away the swag on the show. Shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. All right, let's keep going here. I want to hit on some other topics. How do we look at LeBron? How do we properly assess LeBron? I think, and this was again a question brought up with the members this morning. Did a show at 7:15 and worked on some topics for the show today. How do we properly assess LeBron? Is it hey, I'm down to have LeBron next year, but he's got to sign at this much? Is it LeBron, thank you for the 8 years. Greatly appreciate everything you did with the Lakers organization. You're going to go down as one of the greatest. You'll be remembered as a Cleveland Cavalier, a Miami Heat, and you also had a window with the Lakers where it was up and down. It was rocky, it was this, but you got an NBA championship on your resume. Obviously, the Lakers hadn't won a championship in 10 years before they won one in 2020, and sitting here in 2025, obviously, Lakers haven't won one since. How do we view LeBron moving forward? Like, what do people want to see with he's here this season? You know, if there's any knock that people have typically on LeBron, it's, well, you know, he's $52 million is going towards your cap space, is going towards the cap. What do we want from LeBron past this season? Do you want it to end? Do you want that partnership to be over? If LeBron is you know, still having a good season this year and says, guys, listen, I'm building a mega mansion wherever he's building it from. My family's here. I want to keep playing. I still feel like I'm good enough. I want to go into my 24th season. I understand I can't get $52 million anymore. Let me work with the team and let me work on a contract that's favorable towards the team, but still allows me to play basketball, understanding that my chapter is definitely coming to an end. What do people want to see from LeBron? You know, I think for me, I've said this before. I was very excited in the offseason that the Lakers weren't offering another 1+1. I didn't want to see another 1+1. No disrespect to LeBron. Just, okay, that's you can't keep throwing money at, as great as LeBron has been. And LeBron still last year was great. He was a top 15 player in the league. Top 15, top 20. 20 at the worst, but I would say he was top 15 in the league. So the question just becomes, you know, for me in the offseason, I was like, all right, I like that the leverage is now in the Lakers' hand. That this year LeBron got to say, all right, well, I'll just opt into my contract. Here's $52 million and I'll make 52. And did he make some noise on his way doing it? It's the first time he didn't have control of a franchise. Yeah, he did. I'm sure it was an adjustment for him. And but when the dust settled, it was the right move for the Lakers. And now the question is going to be, well, what happens after this season? I don't know what happens after this season. I would tell you that I'm down to see LeBron continue as a Laker, but it can't be under the same terms. And I think most people would agree with that. Maybe in a perfect world, LeBron decides this is it. This is my final year. The only reason why I question whether it's his final year is he hasn't said anything yet. You know, so LeBron takes me as somebody that's going to want that farewell tour. LeBron takes me as somebody that is going to, and maybe that farewell tour is in Cleveland. Maybe when this season ends, LeBron signs for a lot less money to go to Cleveland and works on his farewell tour there, which would obviously be poetic, from the area, won, you know, a championship there, all that stuff. I don't know, but I could just look at it from a Laker perspective. And from my personal view, I'm completely okay if this is how that chapter ends with LeBron as a Los Angeles Laker. What I'm not okay with is we start looking at next season and LeBron is saying, well, you got to pay me. You know, where's that 52? Where's that 55? Where's this? Where's that? And frankly, I don't think the Lakers are going to do it. But the way I'd like to enjoy LeBron this year is kind of like I did in the last game. I don't know what the expectations are night in, night out. I still think he brings something to the table. I love that there's less pressure on his shoulders than probably any part of his career because he's got somebody else that can drive the car and will grab the keys to the car, not something that every other player that he's played with had the capability of doing or wanted to do. And I use Anthony Davis as an example. So for me personally, if that chapter ends this year, cool, completely okay with it. If it goes past this year, I think it's safe to say it can't look the same as it does this season. But what I'd rather do with LeBron James is kind of just enjoy and appreciate what he brings to the table every single night and just see how effective he can be having a team around him where it's not all on his shoulders. So the question of, hey, what do we think of LeBron past this season, or how do you look at LeBron in the future? I don't think there's a way to do so, but I will tell you, hypothetically, if the Lakers were spending a ton of their cap space on LeBron for next year, yeah, that sounds like that would be a problem. And it also doesn't sound like it would be a wise decision from just the basketball perspective. So read a couple of these, and then we'll talk about a little bit more about the starting lineup and everything else. All right, let's see what people got to say. We need LeBron. Okay. All right. Now, are you telling me next season, or are you talking about this year? Because I do agree that this year they do need LeBron. LeBron's farewell tour will be fantastic troll fest for the NBA. There's certain players, they're going to get a farewell tour. I could see LeBron going back to Cleveland. All right, let's keep going here. LeBron won't take the minimum, but if he takes 10 to 20 a year, one more year. But if he wants 50, then no thanks. With you on that. For the record, if LeBron takes a pay cut, that doesn't automatically create cap space dollar for dollar, as he was signed over the cap with the bird rights. Eric, you're 100% right on that. I think the NBA has created ways to make things so wildly confusing. Even Reeves, Reeves re-signing with the Lakers is not the same as the Lakers going out to try to get. Like, I think people look at LeBron, well, he cost $52 million. So if LeBron didn't sign that 52, they had 52 to go play in the open market. No, you didn't. That's not how it works. So yes, you are correct on that. It is not dollar for dollar. I'm tired of hoping LeBron will do well, and I'm usually disappointed. Okay. Maybe he wants 10 years as a Laker. It's got to make sense for both sides. That's the thing that I always stick to, that I think LeBron has been able to, and he should. One of the things that LeBron's been able to do, and when you have leverage, you can do whatever the hell you want. One of the things that LeBron has been able to do is he gets to kind of call his shots. I'm LeBron James. I kind of do whatever the hell I want. I could dictate what a team does. The Lakers had a decision to make back in the mid 2000s. Kobe or Shaq? Dr. Jerry Buss is making a decision. Do I want an aging Shaq, or do I want Kobe? And Kobe's not giving me an option here. It's going to be one or the other. He chose Kobe. Players at the height of their career get to kind of dictate what they do. LeBron has been able to dictate what he does throughout his entire career, but he's obviously reaching a point where that leverage is going away. And that's not a surprise, and it shouldn't be a surprise at all. All right, let's take a look at a couple more here. Let me see a couple more here. Let's see what we got here. By the way, to be completely honest with you, I still think LeBron brings a lot to the table. I really do. I think LeBron still brings a lot to the table, and it's not going to be perfect every time. But the beauty for me is going to be how LeBron could play, not necessarily a role player, but he doesn't have to be the star that he's been over the course of his career. That to me is the beauty of LeBron right now, is you get to see LeBron in a different role. LeBron doesn't need to drop 35. LeBron doesn't need to give you 12 assists a game and 10 rebounds. He doesn't need to do that anymore. And frankly, that's not fair if you're asking LeBron to do that. They got other players that can chip in with all those stats and a different superstar. So I think that's something that's going to be fun to kind of watch. But he's one game in. He had 12 dimes in his first game. He fed everyone that was on the team. It was like the uncle coming in, and it's like, all right, who wants to eat? I got you. Here's a plate I'm making for you. He's carving the turkey on Thanksgiving. He's dishing everything out. That was LeBron in his first game back. Set up Jake LaRavia, DeAndre, and go down the list of it. Gabe Vincent, Austin Reeves, set up everybody. So it was fun to kind of watch, obviously LeBron in his first game. And we'll see what the future holds. Okay, let's keep going here. Thank you, by the way, everybody chiming in, all the comments and everything else. Appreciate you guys chiming in. All right, I got one here that was a super. Let me read this here. I know people are going to hate it, but Dylan Brooks. Are you saying for Dylan Brooks, are you saying from a trade perspective? I wouldn't hate that. People don't have to like Dylan Brooks. I think he's a good player to have. He's a good player to have on your team. I like players like Dylan Brooks, so I don't think that's crazy at all. I don't think Phoenix is getting rid of him. I also don't think Phoenix is making a trade with the Lakers. So I think sometimes those are usually in the same territory. All right, I got a question here real quick. So we got a chance to see this. We got a chance to see this on first game Lakers played, obviously with LeBron. We got a chance to see the starting lineup. And there were some questions coming in, and I think we got a chance to address some of that. Starting lineup had Rui in there. So you had Ayton, you had LeBron, you had Luka, you had AR, and it had Rui Hachimura. What do we make as Rui as a starter? What do we make as Rui as a starter? I think right now, if you said, give me your 10 best players that you're going to play in a game, let's keep those 5. And then let's throw Jackson Hayes. Let's throw Jake LaRavia. Let's throw Marcus Smart. Let's throw Gabe Vincent. And then I guess the question just becomes probably Dalton Connect. I'm assuming that's your kind of your best 10 there. Vando not as dependable. Let me ask this question because I think there are some people proposing they want Rui coming off the bench. If Rui comes off the bench, who's the starter that people are referring to? Rui comes off the bench. Who's the starter then? Who do people, if you want Rui coming off the bench, who's the player that you're like, oh yeah, this is a no-brainer. This player, is it Marcus Smart? Like, I don't know. I'm asking the question because I think for me, as we ask the question of LeBron's back, who should now be the starting 5? I think Rui will be most effective as a starter for the Lakers. Now, you can make the case and say, no, too much offense there. Rui can be a player coming off the bench. The problem with Rui coming off the bench for me, I think the more you need to depend on Rui, I think the less you're going to get from Rui Hachimura. The more there's attention on all these other guys, the more I think Rui will contribute. So that's my only issue with Rui. But I see people trying to make the case of like, hey, should Rui be a starter? Okay, if Rui's not a starter and you're going 10 deep, Rui's coming off the bench now with Jake LaRavia, Jackson Hayes, Gabe Vincent, Dalton Connect, and you pick whatever other player. Then who comes in from a starting perspective? I want to see what the case people make. Smart showed how important he was last game. Soon as he was defending George, the game changed. Listen, Marcus Smart is up and down too. Like I don't think. I think Marcus Smart. I'm a fan of what he's brought to the table. Not really bitching and complaining about Marcus Smart, but there is an area I will bitch and complain about. His shot is so inconsistent as well. So and he shoots the ball with confidence, which is great. You should, but there are other times where I'm like, Smart, wait, you don't have to shoot the ball every time you touch it. Let me see a couple more in here. So Marcus Smart. Here's this one. Rui not coming off the bench. Smart until we make a trade. Smart over Rui. Okay, there's actually a lot of people. I can't believe in Rui, but he and LeBron really can't get out there together. Okay. Here's a couple more. So surprisingly, I think a lot of people are making a case for Marcus Smart. You know what people are not making a case for? They're not really making a case for Vando, which I think before the season started, that was a conversation. I don't think it's to start a conversation anymore. Can't have Rui and Braun. Only AR is a perimeter defender. He needs one more, so it's probably going to be Smart or Vando. Don't think JJ likes Vando, though. Clearly, JJ, I don't think, is looking at Vando. Rui's value is scoring, but he's the 5th option playing with Luka, LeBron, Reeves in it. He's the 5th option, but he's also doesn't need to create for himself. Will find open looks. There'll be very little attention paid to him, which is how he's going to get his looks. Who's going to set him up in the second unit? I guess that's more of the question. Unless that second unit has Austin Reeves or Luka in there as their the distributor, then I could see you're staggering minutes. You need certain guys out, certain guys in. But I think Rui needs a playmaker in order to be effective. Because if you're throwing Rui the ball and saying, go get us buckets, I don't think Rui's going to do that. And I don't think that's his strength. Slee, do you think that Lakers can win a championship this season? I don't think right now, as is, they're beating the Thunder in a 7-game set. So to answer your question, the answer is no. But that's why you give yourself 60 days to figure out what it is. And anything can happen in a season. Injuries happen. Anything can happen. So the Pacers got to the finals last year, and if it wasn't for Tyrese Halliburton getting injured, they'd probably beat the Oklahoma City Thunder in 7 games. So you just never know. Rui is a starting caliber player, but he's out of position in this lineup and needs to be coming off the bench with the roster as currently constructed. I got to be honest with everybody. I think there's a lot of people saying there's a lot more people asking Rui to come off the bench than I thought. I thought most people would just say, no, just keep it as it is, and you can always change it down the road. Rui is a solid starter for spacing. Teams got to respect his three-point shooting. Yeah, I mean, more consistent offensively, more of a catch-and-shoot player, can hit a mid-range jumper. I don't think those are the strengths of Marcus Smart. All right, let's get a couple more in here. That Halliburton injury still hurts. That Pacers team was so much fun to watch. A badass team to watch. I was all in. I was all in on watching them play. How much does LeBron need to be a contender, Slee? How much does LeBron need to be a contender? Yeah, I think at this point, Lakers just got to do what's in the best interest of the Lakers and Luka in the next 5 years. So whatever that means, that's the lens that you're looking through, and I don't think you're looking at it through another lens. Vando, a cheerleader at this point, might be right on that point. Vando's going to have his value. He'll eventually have his value again. Okay, so I guess more people than I thought trying to make a case here that Rui should be coming off the bench. Do I think that's actually going to happen? Maybe. Maybe that could happen down the road, but I think for now, Rui's going to stay a starter. I do. I was asked the question a couple of days ago before LeBron was coming back, and I did think Rui would stay in the starting lineup. He's probably going to stay in the starting lineup for now. We'll see if the Lakers make any changes down the road on it. Okay, let's keep moving here. I still got a couple more things that I want to hit on. I'm going to read a quick quote here. LeBron said something after the first game. He said, after his first game, he said, I said it at yesterday's practice. I don't even understand why that was even a question. And he's talking about fitting in with the team. What's wrong with these people out there? I could fit in right away with anybody. I'm actually glad LeBron did say that, because I think people are looking for storylines, and if the storyline about LeBron coming back was he's going to kill the team, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I think it is what it is, but he did address it for a quick second. I won't spend too much time on it because I think we've done that before, but I saw that quote, and instantly when I saw it, I'm like, LeBron should address it. I mean, and by the way, you know what that also tells me? When people say, they never read the news or they're not paying attention to hosts out there or reading articles or any of that stuff. I think they read it. I think LeBron definitely reads that stuff and he knows what's going on. And there was obviously a lot of conversation and chatter before LeBron was going to come back and Lakers getting off to a good start. He's going to ruin it. Or Lakers go on the road trip, they go 1-2 and they get blown out against Oklahoma City Thunder. And every article after that was they can't win without LeBron. It's like, obviously goes kind of with the wind as far as some of the stories go, but LeBron addressed it for a quick second. Okay, I got some other stuff that I want to get into. This came up again. Bleacher Report put something out there. Here's the title of Bleacher Report. This was yesterday. Why Daniel Gafford is ideal trade target for LeBron James Lakers amid NBA rumors. Okay. I'm not going to read the details of the article. I'm just going to stay with the title. Why Daniel Gafford is ideal trade target for LeBron James Lakers amid NBA trade rumors. Nico Harrison is gone. We know that. Mark Cuban seems like he's kind of getting back into the mix here with the Dallas Mavericks. I don't know, how much Patrick Dumont and the rest of that organization is going to weigh on Mark Cuban. I think they should weigh on Mark Cuban. I think it's been a complete train wreck for, obviously what's happened so far. So we'll see what eventually happens moving forward. But I will say that just reading that title right there, does anybody really genuinely think, and I do think Daniel Gafford would be a great trade target for the Lakers. Does anybody really think that the Dallas Mavericks are going to make another trade with the Lakers? I mean, does anybody really think that if Rob Pelinka picked up the phone and called and said, hey, guys, hope everything's going well. Hope this season, I know you guys are off to a slow start. I know Anthony Davis has played in 14 games since we traded him to your team. And I know Luka Doncic is the leading scorer in the NBA. I know you just got rid of your general manager, president of basketball operations, and your franchise is in complete shambles because of us and the move that we made in February. Hey, I know that trade that we made in February will go down as one of the worst trades, if not the worst trade in NBA history. And you could start looking at it outside of the NBA and start looking at other unbelievable trades that have gone down that people say, I can't believe that happened. I know all that happened. But just a quick question I want to run by your front office. Can we talk Daniel Gafford for a second? Why are there still articles about Daniel Gafford and the Lakers? Why are there still articles about the Dallas Mavericks and the Los Angeles Lakers, period? The Mavs aren't going to trade anything else to the Lakers. Okay? That's not how this works. You don't go get bamboozled. Is that the right way to say it? I forgot how to say it. It's like you went and you went to a car dealership and they sold you a lemon. And then 6 months later, you're like, you know what? I'm going back to that dealership. No, you probably don't go back to that dealership. Why are there still articles out there about the Lakers potentially making moves with the Dallas Mavericks? What am I missing here? Please do me a favor if you're an outlet out there. Please never write an article again about the Lakers and the Mavs making a deal together. It ain't happening. Got to stop that. It's a fugazi. The Mavs were fugazied. They're not going back there. Now, if Nico Harrison was still there, maybe there's still some hope. But Nico Harrison is no longer there. All right, let's see what we got, because it gets clicks and people love reading them. I mean, I don't know it's absurdity. They will never do a deal. They will never do a deal again with the Los Angeles Lakers. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we're sitting 10 years from now and they still haven't done a deal with the Lakers. You can't. Luka gets all the excuses, but notice that expectations for other players. Pelinka to Nico. Hey, bro, you good? Dear Nico, thank you. Mark Cuban is why Gafford is a pipe. Of course. By the way, whether you like Mark Cuban or not, he ran a good organization. He did. For many years, he ran a good organization with the Dallas Mavericks, and they won an NBA championship. All right, let's see some more here. Let's get a couple more here. Because Gafford is a beast with Luka, Reeves, or Braun. I get that, Marlon. But why in the flying F would they make another deal with the Lakers? They wouldn't. It ain't happening. All right, let's keep moving here. I just saw that article, so I just wanted to throw that in here real quick. There was something out there. Let me get this in here. Let's someone throwing a 10 spot. Or I'm sorry, they're throwing in whatever they're throwing in. Thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate you very much. Very kind of you. Lakers have to make a push for a trade and championship this year because this team is just going to be more expensive soon. AR, 8, and Luka are about to get, Rui Hachimura are about to get bigger contracts to have it already lined up. I don't completely agree with that. I think you got to be very strategic. And even if you re-sign AR, it doesn't mean that AR can't be a trade chip. Even if you sign Rui Hachimura, which I don't know what they're going to do with Rui Hachimura, doesn't mean you can't be a trade chip. So I'm still trying to be very smart with every move that I make. And I'm only going all in if I feel like I'm the Denver Nuggets right now. The Lakers, okay, I'm building for the future. I got a 26-year-old. I still got to be smart. I still got to be wise. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the super. All right, there was another article that I got here. This one is a little bit crazy, to be honest with you. Sham said something kind of setting the record straight on a couple of things. And there was a really long article that was really good on Nico Harrison and the trade for Luka. Tim McMahon wrote this article on ESPN. I'm going to just read a piece of this of how he basically eventually convinced the Dallas Mavericks and Patrick Dumont to make the trade. And I'm just going to read just a small piece of this that applies to the Lakers, and we'll go from there. Here's something Tim McMahon said. Harrison built his case from a business perspective. He said Luka would be eligible to sign 5-year, $345 million Supermax contract in the summer. The deal would be an awful investment, Harrison told Dumont, pointing to Luka Doncic's conditioning concerns, poor off-court habits, and reoccurring calf strains, predicting that his body would break down. Doncic's camp and Harrison had several disagreements regarding the recovery process from the calf strain that sidelined the superstar at the time, which the GM portrayed to Dumont as proof that Doncic was not fully committed to the Mavs. So he was basically selling as hard as you can possibly sell that Luka should not be a part of your future. Sounds like it got a little personal between the two, right? It sounds like it was, you got to do things my way. I run shit around here. You don't run it. I'm the president of basketball operations. I don't care that you're one of the top 3, 4, 5 players in the world. Maybe what he did not understand was the player he was trading for has crazy amount of injury history. And by the way, also Kyrie Irving, like that we obviously know what happened in regards to that. But age-wise, future-wise, if you're making a case, I think people, listen, if you want to trade Luka Doncic, I think the biggest gripe people have with you wanting to trade Luka, open it up to every single team in the NBA. He didn't do that. So I thought that piece was pretty interesting in the article. One other thing here, and this will actually kind of get into some of the NBA stuff that we have. So I'm going to actually just kind of start some NBA news here as we get going, get a little music here in the background as we kind of get ready to close down the show here. There's one other piece here that I want to read. Shams trying to set the record straight in regard to Anthony Davis. Kind of weird because Mark Cuban's saying one thing, Shams is saying another one. Here's what Shams said about the Dallas Mavericks. This franchise is moving away from Nico Harrison's 3 to 4 year championship window and toward trying to find sustained success and sustained growth around Cooper Flag and youth. And to that end, sources have told ESPN that the Mavericks will be listening to trade calls for Anthony Davis and seeing and exploring his value. By the way, what value does AD have at this point? The guy can't stay on the floor. And if you're a team that's trading for Anthony Davis, I mean, it's so crazy to say this. The Lakers got Luka for AD. Yes, Max Christie, yes, a first rounder, but that's not how the Lakers got him. They got him for AD. AD's played 14 games with the Dallas Mavericks. He hasn't showed he could stay on the floor consistently. How the hell are you going to trade Anthony Davis for real value? All these teams are going to say to themselves, I don't want to trade for Anthony Davis. Well, how am I going to trade? I'm not going to give equal value back for Anthony Davis. I don't know how long the guy's going to be on the floor. And then what the Dallas Mavericks got to worry about, then they got to worry about, all right, then that means we got to keep Anthony Davis. We got to let him play. We got to kind of raise his value again so then we can make a proper trade for Anthony Davis. What are teams going to give up for AD? The Lakers got Luka for AD. Just so absurd. Mark Cuban. Here's what Mark Cuban said about trading Anthony Davis. Basically said that they're not looking to trade him. They want to compete with him, which is what Mark Cuban should be saying. Let me find this here. Press for if you trade him when they say, are we on? Okay, here's one quote from an executive in the West. While you can point to Davis as a top 20 player in LA, it is a $175 million gamble and perhaps more if you trade for him. I would want to see a long stretch of games of Anthony Davis healthy before there could ever be a discussion about trading for him. All right. I don't know what his value is going to be in the league, but Mark Cuban's smart to say we're not going to trade him. By the way, if I'm Mark Cuban, I'm probably doing the same thing. I'm saying, yeah, we're not trading him. The problem is if they win games, they want a higher draft pick. He's not going to help you with your draft status, everything else. But I would take Mark Cuban's chance of, at least even if he's bluffing to say we're not trading Anthony Davis, I'd rather do that than try to say that we're actually trading him. All right, I got to get everybody's thoughts on a play yesterday that I watched that actually has the Dallas Mavericks a part of this. Let me show you guys this play from yesterday. You guys tell me what you think about this. I don't know if you guys were watching any of the NBA games yesterday. Does somebody want to tell me how this is an offensive foul? Look what we're watching here, okay? It's 113-111. Knicks are up on the Dallas Mavericks. Getting close to the end of the game here. Look at this. You tell me, is this an offensive foul or not? We don't need volume. Take a look here. They're calling an offensive foul. Final play of the game. They're going to show the replay on this. How is this an offensive foul? Take a look here. It's coming. Give me another look here. We getting another look? Or there's no other look. All right, look at it live. The guy hooks a little bit with his left hand. They called an offensive foul there. Would have tied the game. What are you guys doing? That's an awful call. Look at the angle the other ref was at, too. Just an awful call by the referee. An offensive foul there. I thought there was replays in there. I didn't see any replays in there. What a terrible call to end the game. That's how the game ended? These referees sometimes, God bless them. But, damn. I mean, the way they dictate games, there are times where I'm watching the NBA and I'm like, man, I love every second of the league. There's other times I'm watching the NBA and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with the NBA? One other thing on the NBA front that I want to put in here real quick. I'll read some of the comments and we'll get out of here. The NBA is trying to find ways to reduce injuries per Shams Charania. The league is launching a league-wide biomechanics assessment program. More than 500 players have already gone through a level of testing. There are 4 rounds of biomechanics testing that still needs to be completed for the rest of the season, and that's going to be used to optimize performance and to try to reduce injuries moving forward. Man, I feel like the NBA is juggling a lot of issues around the league right now. The NBA is dealing with load management. The NBA is dealing with gambling scandals. They're dealing with injuries. The league's in a weird spot. I love the NBA, but damn, I feel like there is not exactly a perfect league. Let's put it that way. Not exactly a perfect league. All right, let's get a couple of these comments here and we'll call it a day. All right, by the way, a couple people asked music-wise, start the show to end the show. I'm going to have a little bit of music here towards the beginning and the end. Refs had this is the problem. Refs had the money line. This is the problem now, right? We all kind of start making assumptions now. This is what the league has done to us. Let me get another one in here. There was something here about Anthony Davis. See if I could find it. AD should not want Chicago. You don't want to be called street clothes at home or play your last fading years at home. Problem with him, I just don't know what. I have no idea what the value is going to be for Anthony Davis to the rest of the league. Damn, AD played that much. I could have sworn it was like 3 games, 14 games. I like Anthony Davis, AD, but he's injury prone. No question about it. All right, my people, I'm back tomorrow morning. We are going to get ready to obviously make this happen again tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Thank you. A quick shout out to the members this morning that were there at 7:15. Enjoyed working on some topics with you guys, so thank you very much for your help in doing that. Solid show today as well. Lakers don't have another game coming up until Sunday. I will be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. We'll continue to talk Lakers basketball in the NBA. Thank you, everybody. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow morning. Enjoy your Thursday.